Creating from the Heart, the Artistry of Living. I'm Suzy Vance, and I'm here with Cheryl Dauer, who is the queen of Meals on Wheels in Michigan City.
Where's my crown?
Yeah, right, exactly. So, did you ever think you were going to be doing this when you were a kid?
I really did not. I was a lot of things, and everything that I was before kind of led me into this position.
Really?
I was a food service director in Chicago for a management company. And then after that, I worked in schools and healthcare in food service. And then I was the Christian education coordinator and office assistant at St. Paul Lutheran Church. And I worked with a lot of volunteers, coordinating volunteers. And then I ended up here at Meals on Wheels, where it's kind of food service. And we, of course, only run because we have so many volunteers. So it kind of combined everything I'd ever done into one position.
That's amazing. Were you a volunteer as a kid?
Yes, I went to St. Paul School as a kid, and we always had to do different volunteer things. I've done the same thing with my children growing up, and they volunteered at Bible school. They were voluntold, but then they really started volunteering.
It sounds like it was in your blood.
Absolutely.
Was this in your parents' blood?
Yes, and my grandmother too. My grandma Hazel Reckworth. She was a member of St. Luke's Church. And she was like on the crafting and the funeral lunches and just always taking food to people. So I think Grandma Hazel was definitely a role model for me. And my mom's always been very giving as well.
It's really interesting because I come from a long line of missionaries to China and India. If
oh
you
my
can
goodness.
Believe it.
Yes, I can.
And it's sort of in my blood, and so I get it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What do you like best about it?
About Meals on Wheels or my job? It's not really like a job.
Right.
It's we get to work with the volunteers we work with. First of all, are just all amazing people. Somebody's husband is one of my best volunteers.
It's true.
That would be Tim Griffin. And we get to work with wonderful volunteers, and our clients, they're so appreciative. And it just warms my heart to see every day the difference that we can make in the community.
It was amazing. Yesterday, I went to a luncheon for the Meals on Wheels celebrating the volunteers. And this woman knows how to celebrate volunteers, let me tell you. And one of the things that they do at the end is they read all these wonderful notes from the people that the volunteers serve. There's not a dry eye in the place.
And they're all true, and we could do that for hours. There are so many grateful clients that write notes when we take our surveys. It's my favorite day of the year because there's so much love in that room, and there's so much giving and so much heart that you can't walk away without feeling warm and fuzzy.
It's so interesting to see how, yes, you volunteer and all that, but it's sort of in your blood, and it just led you from one step to another to be where you are today.
Yeah, there was some intervention in there somewhere, divine intervention maybe.
Yeah, really? Okay. So speaking of divine intervention, do you have any advice that you would give somebody who's in high school who can't decide what they're going to do with their lives, or somebody who's graduating from college and it's not quite, or somebody, God forbid, has lost their job and they want to know what it is they can do?
Absolutely. The nonprofit world which is what we're in. We are a 501c3. We're nonprofit. It's not for everybody, but I'll tell you what, I know a lot of people that came from the corporate world into the nonprofit world, and there are similarities, but I think that the heart of it is so much more in a nonprofit. It's like you can literally feel the difference you're making. Mm-hmm. So, and you can study nonprofit management in college. I have a degree in journalism from Valparaiso University, but I have gotten
That's
other
probably
certifications.
useful.
It is absolutely useful. Yes, we write grants, we write notes, we write everything. So yes, journalism was definitely a good choice. But if anybody wants to know about Meals on Wheels and be a part of Meals on Wheels or the nonprofit sector, I strongly encourage it because it is very rewarding.
Well, one of the things that I have done in the past when somebody's come to me for coaching because they're sort of between a rock and a hard place and they're trying to decide what to do next, it's amazing to me how when you decide to go volunteer for something, somehow something always shows up.
It does. That's part of the giving aspect of it. If you're giving of yourself, even if it's not Meals on Wheels, say you just go and volunteer at the Salvation Army or a soup kitchen, there's so many different avenues that you can go off of for that. So say you're volunteering at the homeless shelter and you meet somebody that's volunteering there as well. That might be a connection. There's
Right.
connections everywhere.
Yes. And one of the things you find when you volunteer when you work as a volunteer and you meet somebody else, it's the values are the same. So
Right?
you've taken care of one of the things at least I check off my list.
Check off that box. That's right.
That's right. So this has been really delightful. I hope if you are even not in this community, you'll consider volunteering for Meals on Wheels. You never know where it will take you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
you,
having
Cheryl.
me, Suzy.
See you later. Creating from the heart, the artistry of living.